On a cold, gloomy morning, Callie was walking through the narrow, dark streets of San Diego. Her hair faded by time, and her once lively eyes now reflected a mixture of despair and weariness. She was facing the worst crisis of her life. Her skin, once smooth and well cared for, now showed the marks of time and worries that were gathering like clouds before a storm. The debts had piled up like an avalanche. Years ago, Callie had been a successful entrepreneur in the women's clothing boutique business, but a combination of mismanagement, the rise of e-commerce, a pandemic, and a devastating divorce had drained not only her financial empire, but also her vital energy. All that remained was a tangle of financial obligations and loans that she couldn't see how to repay. "How could I let this happen?" she murmured to herself as her step moved almost mechanically towards the old bridge that crossed the river that divided the city. It was an iron construction, imposing and, at the same time, corroded by time. A reflection of Callie's current state. In her mind, flashbacks of happier days invaded her consciousness. She remembered the laughter of her children, Lucas and Mariana, running around the store as toddlers, hiding among the racks of clothes while she negotiated with suppliers. The affection and admiration they had for her, seeing her not just as a mother, but as a woman who conquered the world. How she missed that time. But those moments of joy were quickly replaced by darker memories. The heated argument with her ex-husband on the night he left home. The disappointed looks from her children, now grown up, who didn't fully understand the difficulties their mother was facing. Every step Callie took towards the bridge seemed to echo in her heart. Failure, hopelessness. Reaching the middle of the bridge, Callie leaned on the cold railing and looked down at the dark water below. The icy wind whipped at her face, as if trying to draw her away from her dark thoughts. Tears began to flow freely down her cheeks, each carrying a mixture of regret, fear, and deep pain. "Would anyone miss me?" she thought, the voice of her conscience almost drowned out by the sound of the wind. Just then, she heard footsteps approaching. A figure wrapped in a thick coat and scarf approached. It was a middle-aged man, with gentle eyes that conveyed sincere concern. "I'm sorry to disturb you," he said in a soft but firm voice. "I couldn't help noticing that you seem quite upset. Can I help you in any way?" Callie looked at him, surprised and a little suspicious. Why would he care, she thought. But there was something about the way he presented himself that made her, for a moment, want to believe that maybe there was still some hope. I really don't know if there's anything anyone can do for me now," she replied, her voice laced with emotion. "Sometimes all you need is someone to listen," he said, taking a step closer, while respecting her space. "I'm here. Tell me what brought you here." Callie hesitated, but something about the presence of that stranger and the night that seemed to suspend time made her open her heart about her struggles, her losses, and the weight she carried. As the cold night wind continued to blow, Callie began to tell her story to the stranger. Her voice trembled at first, but as the words flowed, a certain weight seemed to begin to dissipate. "I had everything: a store, a family, a home." It was the beginning of the 2000s when Callie and Robert got married. Then came the couple's 2 children and the store they had founded together. That first decade of the century was fantastic. The marriage flowed, the children developed well, and the company grew and made a lot of money for both of them. Life always seemed abundant and happiness reigned supreme. The little details and slip-ups were dealt with easily. But as the second half of the century passed, the situation changed dramatically. The children grew up, started to take care of their own affairs, and suddenly it seemed that everything began to fall apart. First there was the business. The market changed so quickly, Callie couldn't keep up with the new virtual trends, and, with the company completely swallowed up by the pandemic, she had to sell everything she had left in order not to declare bankruptcy. Then her marriage began to suffer even more. There were several small crises and instabilities. Callie and Robert were always so busy, trying to somehow return to prosperous times, they couldn't understand each other anymore. And when things got extremely difficult, they couldn't unite to face the problems. Robert finally left her, taking a part of her with him. The man listened attentively, nodding in understanding, his eyes never leaving hers, offering a kind of human connection that Callie hadn't felt for a long time. "And my children," Callie continued, a new wave of tears flooding her eyes. "Lucas and Mariana, they grew up so fast. I was so involved with the business and then trying to save it that I lost precious moments with them. And now, they have their own lives, their own problems. I feel as if they don't need me anymore, as if I no longer have a purpose." The man moved a little closer, his expression full of empathy. "You feel isolated from everything and everyone that matters to you, don't you?" he asked, his voice low and reassuring. "Yes, exactly," replied Callie, surprised by the precision of his words. "And today, looking back at my life, at all my faults, I wonder if the world wouldn't be a better place without me to get in the way." "Callie, can I tell you something?" interrupted the man, now with a gentle firmness in his voice. "The world needs people who have faced difficulties. People who, despite everything, keep trying. You have a story, and it matters. Your experience can help others who are feeling the same pain, who are going through the same hopelessness. Callie looked at him, the words penetrating the fog of her desolation. A spark of something she hadn't felt for a long time began to shine inside her. Hope. But what can I do? She asked, her voice still uncertain. Start small, the man suggested. Talk about your journey, share your struggles. Don't underestimate the power of your voice. There are communities, support groups, people who need to hear that they are not alone. And you can be that voice for someone. Callie thought back to the years she ran her store, the times she mentored young trainees, teaching them not just about business, but about life. Maybe there was a way to use her pain, her experience, to help others. What about the debts, the financial difficulties? She started talking again, as if looking for an excuse that would keep her in her comfort zone. But the truth was that the reality of her situation still cast a shadow over her. We'll find a solution, the man said confidently. There are financial advisors, counseling services that can offer payment plans and debt negotiations. It's not an easy path, but it's a start. The important thing is that you're not alone in this. Callie felt a lightness she hadn't felt for a long time. The idea of having a direction, a plan, however uncertain, was infinitely better than the abyss of despair into which she had almost sunk. Thank you, she said, looking into the man's eyes, her gratitude sincere. I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't shown up. Sometimes the universe sends us exactly what we need. Just when we need it, he replied, a slight smile lighting up his face. They continued talking for a while longer, as dawn began to tint the sky pink and orange. Callie felt as if a new chapter in her life was just beginning. As the first ray of sunlight touched the horizon, illuminating the bridge with a soft glow, Callie and the man were still engaged in conversation. She felt as if some of the weight she had been carrying had been lifted, replaced by cautious hope and a new perspective. What's your name? Callie asked, realizing that until that moment, she hadn't known the name of the man who had offered her so much support. My name is Michael, he replied with a smile. And I'm very happy to be here today, Callie. I really believe that none of this was by chance. Callie nodded, feeling a strange, almost destined connection with Michael. She looked at the horizon, thinking about the next steps she should take. Michael, you mentioned communities and support groups. Where do you think I should start? She asked, her mind now focused on action, a drastic change from her previous state of despair. Well, there are several organizations that offer support to people facing financial and emotional crises. I could help you get in touch with some of them. Also, talking about your experiences, maybe even writing about them, can be therapeutic and extremely useful for other people, suggested Michael, clearly familiar with the resources available. Callie thought about the possibility of helping other people who were going through similar situations to her own. Not only would it give her a purpose, but it would also help her process her own problems. I'd like that very much, she said, a new sparkle in her eyes. And about the debts, I think I'm ready to face that battle too. With the right help, of course. Let's make a plan, said Michael. I'll help you find a reliable financial advisor. I know professionals who have experience in renegotiating debts and can offer realistic and viable guidelines. As the sky cleared, they both decided to walk back across the bridge, now no longer a place of despair for Callie, but a place where she had found a new direction. As they returned to the now awakening city, Callie felt each step as the beginning of a journey of recovery and rediscovery. In the days that followed, Callie and Michael kept in touch. He introduced her to a local support group, where she began to share her story and listen to others. This environment provided not only a support network, but also meaningful friendships and confirmation that she was not alone in her struggles. Together with a financial advisor, they began to map out a plan to deal with the debts. It was a long road full of challenges, but for the first time in a long time, Callie felt like she was taking back control of her life. While all this was going on, Callie made a conscious effort to open up about her struggles and problems with her children, something she had never done before. Not only did this bring a new depth to their relationship, but it also helped her children to better understand the situation and offer their own support. And that simple gesture made Callie realize that they hadn't moved away because they didn't want her anymore, but because of the sublime and unique passage of time. And that now, as adults, they needed other kinds of stimulation, and that she should know that she had done her best for them, and they knew it. She had always had two people to rely on more than anyone else, and she had never realized it, because her gaze had been clouded by hopelessness. Mom, we're here for you. We always have been, Lucas said over dinner, taking his mother's hand. We just want you to be happy and healthy. I know, honey, Callie replied, overcome with emotion, and I'm going to be fine. With you and the new friends I've made, I feel like I can face anything. Callie continued to attend support groups and, over time, began to volunteer, helping to coordinate meetings and activities. She discovered a passion for helping others, a passion that revitalized her and gave her a sense of purpose and community that she had lost. As the months passed, Callie's life began to take on a new shape. Involvement with the support group not only gave her comfort, but also empowered her to become a beacon of hope for others. She became an exceptional listener, using her own experience to guide and encourage group members facing similar challenges. In addition, the collaboration with the financial advisor began to bear fruit. Callie was able to establish a viable payment plan for her debts, negotiating terms that allowed her to maintain a reasonable quality of life while dealing with her financial obligations. The feeling of progress was palpable, and each payment made was a small victory on her journey to financial recovery. During this time, Michael remained a constant figure of support. They developed a deep friendship based on mutual respect and understanding. Michael often expressed admiration for the way Callie turned her pain into strength for others. "You really have a gift for this, Callie," Michael said during a chance encounter in a cafe. "Seeing how you've changed since the day I met you and how you're helping others is incredibly inspiring." Callie smiled, feeling a mixture of gratitude and pride. "I would never have started this journey without your help that night on the bridge. You showed me that there is always a way out, a solution. And you embraced that possibility with a strength that many don't have," he replied, waving for the waiter to order another coffee. It was in this environment of recovery and support that Callie realized that her experience could be even more valuable. Inspired by the impact she was having, she decided to write a book about her journey. The project began as a personal diary, but quickly grew into something much bigger. Callie wanted her story to reach those who might never come to a support group, but who still felt the weight of their own daily and internal struggles. With the support of Michael and new friends from the group, she began to draft the chapters, focusing not only on her crisis and recovery, but also offering practical advice on how to deal with debt, depression, and isolation. While writing, Callie also reconnected more and more with her children. Lucas and Mariana were now more involved in her life, interested in learning and even helping with the book project. They attended weekly dinners where they discussed everything from the progress of the book to everyday things in life. Callie felt that these moments were weaving a new network of relationships in her family, much richer and deeper than it had ever been, as if she was now rediscovering herself and her children. "Mom, we're so proud of you," Mariana said one of those nights. "You're a real inspiration." Lucas agreed, adding, "It's incredible to see how much you've changed and all that you're achieving. It's like you've found your true calling." Callie felt humbled and motivated by such words. She knew that the road ahead still had its challenges, but now she had a clear purpose and the support of people who loved her. The book was eventually completed and published, achieving modest local success initially, but gaining traction as more people discovered its message of hope and resilience. Callie was even invited to speak at local events and seminars, sharing her story and learning with a wider audience. As her local audience grew, to her surprise, the book in virtual format went viral, reaching readers in numbers she had never thought possible. And in this she saw a new opportunity. The virtual commerce that had previously closed the lid on her company's coffin was now opening much bigger doors for her to explore the whole world. Callie became a respected author and noted motivational speaker throughout the West Coast of the United States. She and Michael were married in a modest ceremony in the mountains. Thank you very much to those who have supported the channel financially through the link in the comment pinned. This helps me to bring more and more stories to you. And don't forget to like and also subscribe to continue receiving the new stories.